Okay, so today my plan is to show you the connection. This system is we configure a connection between the distribution or the sales module and the services and the appointments. So basically the goal or the challenge is to be able to know when a service order has already been installed to be able to create the invoice only if it was installed by the service management module. So I'm going to show that connection. So, we're going to start off on sales order, which is the first step. I'm assuming that we're going to have a three-step sales order. Doesn't necessarily need to be like that, but that's according to the information that I had. That was the example that we prepared. It can be done in other ways. So sales order has other orders. It can be done in two steps or things like that. So this is a sales order screen. I'm going to use this order type is called sales order. And then under customer, I will select a customer. Let's say I'm going to select, let's do this one, Nautilus Bar. Okay, and let's say this is a blinds installation. Okay, so next step is to tell the system that this is a service order that is going to have a connection with the service management module. That's what we're doing with this check here. So we select a service order type of blind installation because different kinds of service order types might have different behavior. So that's nice to have. I think we discussed it in other demos. And then when I save it, now I have a service order. So I can also specify when do I need that installed, because normally, according to this example or this workflow, we're assuming that the customer is telling us, hey, we need to install in this date. So we need the installation in this house in this date of these blinds. If we have the time, we can enter the time. Okay, so here we're going to go ahead and add the blinds. So we do here and we say blinds. I'm going to filter this by blinds. So we have 34, 35, 36 inch blinds.
Hey, real quick, Jorge, I'm going to just interject just to comment to Dave on something. So Dave, at this point, when this all is happening, this is when at the order entry point, you guys are going to be entering all the different configurations on the blind, which is that customization that John and I had shown you probably about a month ago that we're going to do. So this is all going to happen within this data entry stage. It's just that Jorge is just going to kind of just take a one-off item just to be able to show you the workflow. I just wanted to comment to you on that.
Yeah, so at this point, we're selecting all the blinds for that order. Basically, yeah. Let's imagine here we shows the quantity that we have in stock, where I'm assuming for this example, it can be made in a way that you don't have in stock and need to go to production. So I'm selecting in this case 3 blinds and quantity 1, and I will also select a installation service, which will not charge him for that, but the way I configure it in that way. It can be done in other ways too. So this item is not necessary. It's just the way that we did it for this example. So imagine that this is the order, okay? So this is the first step. This is, David, this is the case when one of your team guys get the order from the builder, and this is the order. They went out, they measured, and this is what it's needed, okay? So in this point, what happens is that let's imagine now that few days passed, and now I already have the blinds because I manufacture them or I got them in stock, whatever. So I'm ready to go out, and my truck or my guys are ready to go out in the van with the blinds with them. So what they do is they need to create a shipment, and that will also create this shipment it means that they're going out with those blinds on hand. So it can be print out. This is it. If you see at the top, you see shipments. This is a shipment number for this order that we were creating before for the order 220. And so then I need to confirm the shipment. I want you to notice that we configure a button here that says install, and also in the service order, there's also an install click. That this is on check right now because we haven't installed anything on this one. So in this point, I'm going to make a parenthesis. Normally, you wouldn't do this in the process, but I want to show you something interesting, which is that if we go to process shipment, which is to create the invoice, okay, and we do prepare invoice, so that particular shipper is not going to show. The shipper was the 846. 846 is not here. That was the one that we just created it. 846 is not showing. So in other words, I cannot prepare an invoice for that because it has not been installed yet. So then what happens? I go to the service order, and if we look at the calendar board, this will be the dispatcher. That will create this. So it was the Nautilus bar. The service order was the number 20. So I can add it to one of my guys here. So let's suppose that I want this guy to do it. Of course, I know that you have more sophistication like the routes and all that, but I'm just simplifying this stuff just to show you the connection, how everything works together. So once I create the appointment and I close it, now I have the appointment. So that appointment is ready to go for that person. So now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to switch over to my iPad. It's what I'm doing in this point. And I want to show you from my iPad, simulating that Baker Maxwell, which is my installer, is going to go to their house, assuming that they have a mobile device. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, there you go. I'm going to go to Safari. So here it is. So I'm going to log on. Imagine that I'm logging in as a user. So I'm looking at Acumatica on the iPad. So I go to the service management, and I have a few things that we can see here. So one is if I'm the supervisor or I'm the organizer or I'm probably you, I could go to the calendar board and see everybody's schedules. Or I can also see a staff calendar board and just see mine, which will be the one for this person. So over here, we have the Nautilus bar, and we have everybody's calendar here on the top. But if I want, I can just go for calendar board. Okay, let me see who's this. Okay, here we are. So here's Nautilus. So if I move to the top, let me put this in a different scale. So do you appreciate here at the top that I see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? So this is my schedule, mornings and afternoons. So I'm going to do this Nautilus bar installation, which is appointment 20 that we created, the service order 20. I'm going to open it. So this is the appointment. So I have the installation. I have everything that I have to do. I just need to set, okay, I'm working. Today is the 22nd. Let's imagine that. I'm going to put the actual time that I'm doing. So let's say this took me from 9:30 to say 11 to do this installation, and I'm going to close the appointment. So the status is complete. I can see it here at the top. And then if I go to my board here, which is in the office, imagine that someone is in the office and I refresh this. Now guess what? It's in gray. Gray means that it's already installed. So now I know that this uh, um, appointment is done. So what will be the next step? I go back to my distribution module. So I want to go to process shipments. And then guess what? 846 is there for Nautilus bar. That was not here previously. So I can select here and then prepare invoice. So the invoice is ready. So if I go to invoices, we're going to see an invoice for Nautilus bar, which, by the way, I just want to tell you that Acumatica has the capacity for sending emails automatically. So over here, this is an invoice, and in this invoice, that doesn't have to be manually. Right now, I'm showing the process manually, but all this can be done automatically. So Acumatica can do that on its own. So in this point, I can print invoice, okay, and then we have the invoice for that person. And guess what? I can send it by email. So PDF will be sent by email to that person, nautilusbar.com, and then save and close, send, and that's it. So we send the invoice. What I was telling you is that all this can be done automatically. Okay, so one thing to notice before wrapping up, if you go to the sales orders, we will see here that there's a check that says installed. So the module sales order knows that it was installed from the service management, or the shipments too. So if I go to the shipments and I select the 486 for Nautilus, then I will see that it's installed. So I open new windows. I know this opens a whole new windows of possibilities because your guys could take the measurement using an iPad. So we can simplify this screen. We can add, and we can either create the order from here. So the iPad is a great tool for confirming the orders or from even creating them. So in this case, I show you just for the step where you are confirming that you did the installation and to report the time that it took you to make it. And then that will affect back the system. So, but it can be used for other stuff as well, like down upstreams, like creating when they take the measurements. The measurement could be done over here already with a customization that helps them, and then we configure the screen in a way that works for you guys. Adding the fields, like I did, adding fields is very easy. It's a matter of configuration. So we can add the dimensions and whatnot, and then calculations, and everything will be sitting there, and everything will be integrated. So that's a great that I believe that Acumatica is one of the greatest platforms that are out there on the market right now, hands down. Everything that it does and allows configurations are amazing. Creates emails, creates PDFs, sends the emails automatically, runs from an iPad, runs from a phone. Everything is out there available.